Hello, everyone. This is Rick with the Cyber Pro podcast, industry leaders share their insights because hackers never sleep. Full podcast today. We have Jason Morris coming back, repeat offender. You were number 76 in May of 2021, right? This is super awesome. You talked about data privacy. I know you got a cool promotion recently. So, what have you been up to since last being on the Cyber Pro podcast?
Yeah, so a lot of things have been going down. I recently just joined a new team, so I'm leading the AI strategy for our device partner, OEM device partners, which is very fascinating, very interesting. I feel like I'm kind of getting back into the bare metal system world that I used to do back in the day, but still staying very cloud focused. I also came on board as an investor advisor for an accelerator called Batchery. And so the Batchery is focused on bringing in a lot of very pre-seed, early stage startups. So I'm helping advise a lot of those. And it's been really interesting and great because it's not all tech related. There's some non-tech related startups that I'm learning about too, which has been fantastic. And then, AI all day, every day, right? So heavily focused within LLMs. I've done a number of presentations. I actually just came back from partner presentation last week in Vegas, where I did a fireside chat with some excellent folks. So it's been, like you said, we never sleep. The espresso machine is cranking out coffee left and right, keeping me going.
I love it. Did you win any money when you were in Vegas?
$40. That's it.
Perfect. That's all
Yeah,
that matters.
that's it. I put down 20 on black, got it. That was done. I was like, great.
Wow, I love it. I love it. I always do something similar, right? I drop 20 on something and then I usually drop like a $5 bill on one of the poker machines and just play it until I'm done.
Yep, absolutely. There you go.
So awesome. Well, Jason, first question for you. What recent evolutions have you noticed in the machine learning or artificial intelligence landscape?
So in the last 11 months or so, I think it's been extremely interesting, right? In my previous role, I was heavily focused within AI ML. I remember drinking my coffee on LinkedIn one morning and I saw that Microsoft made a giant investment within OpenAI. And I went, I wonder how that's going to affect my life. And I log in, I got about 128 emails. And I was like, okay, so we're rolling with this. This is a real thing. I need to get up to speed. And I've always kind of, as a technologist, stayed, up to date. I knew about OpenAI. I didn't really dive too much into it. I keep, tabs on things. And then it went from, we're fully doing this. This is something that I think has been the most disruptive, not only within, us as technologists, but also folks that are outside of our community. I have individuals that work in healthcare coming up to me and asking me about ChatGPT, and so that's what you kind of start to know that this thing's really got legs and it's taking off.
I love it. So outside of ChatGPT, are there any other emerging technologies or trends or approaches that you're just super excited about?
Yeah, I think that outside ChatGPT, I think what we're really looking at is the hardware acceleration, right? So obviously, everybody knows that GPUs are really the way to go, for doing training and models and such. But I think that there's a really great evolution that we're seeing of smaller models working on different types of accelerated hardware, like NPUs, for example, or even trying to get things down to CPUs, and really bringing AI to the edge, right? So, this is really going to change a lot of things too, because you don't want to have, like a 4090 GPU at a gas station pump, because then someone's going to run Doom on it, so you want to make sure that you have some type of, small accelerator that can do marketing and, business insights or such, or whatever you need at the gas station.
I mean, challenge accepted. It'd be great to play Doom right at the pump, right?
Be way better than those commercials they show. Like if I could
Oh,
crack out,
for sure.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be amazing. Hey, I'm going to use the buzzword. You can throw your shoe at me. How is this going to affect you with quantum computing?
Oh, great. Yeah, let's talk about that. I actually had that question come up last week. I think that there's a lot of folks thinking about that, right? Because it's kind of are we hitting the limitations of AI within the GPU, NPU, TPU space? What's next? Like, what are we looking at? And I think a lot of folks are trying to figure out, hey, is quantum a play here? Like, can we build this quantum LLM or LAM? Like, what can we do with that? There are people much smarter than me that are working on that problem, so I stay very in tune with what's happening. But I'm going to let the PhDs of the world go ahead that have, the degrees in this to take that over. However, that being said, I feel like we will see something like that. Maybe not in the near future, just because I feel like quantum has always kind of been this thing where we're trying to figure it out with encryption and, and giant problems like that. But I can definitely see within the future that we could have something trained on these machines.
I love it. Love it. So I know that you play with one of the big cloud providers, right? And so I'm curious, how has the cloud been evolved by ML, AI, and big data?
Yeah. So the full stack of it all, I think, has been extremely beneficial for partners and customers, right? Little bias. I will say that Microsoft is the end to end, right? I mean, we got everything from bare metal up to your business analytics. I'm not going to call out other competitors, but if you are working in the Microsoft cloud environment, pretty much wherever you want to go, we can support, right? And so the fact that now we have this accelerated AI platform of Azure OpenAI that's enterprise grade, we don't train on your data. And then you can actually go ahead and already start to do some acceleration of maybe an application you have currently running, or you can go ahead and run something that you want to build something new. Like I was working with a call center company that basically said, hey, I got all this data. I know to keep the data, but I don't know what to do with it. And within 1 month, we were able to go through and build a chat GPT bot that actually do sentiment analysis on call center communications. So, it's very disruptive. It's very huge. And I think what's also really beneficial is you don't need a team of PhDs inside of a room to do all this for you, right? It's now as a service.
I love it. Jason, you mentioned something in there, and I want you to highlight it because people are worried about it. We don't train on your data.
Mhm. Yeah. So a lot of the conversations I have with folks, I had a CEO told me, he said, the thing that keeps me up at night is that if I give ChatGPT my source code, my finance information, my roadmap, my scrum, all this information that keeps, the engineering teams going, what's preventing a competitor from asking GPT, hey, how does so-and-so make money? What's the source code of so-and-so's number one selling application in the world? And they're out of business in 24 hours, right? So C-level folks are looking at this and going, I need to make sure that what I put in stays into my account, doesn't get breached, doesn't get, sent out, doesn't get retrained. I don't want people to have any access to that data. And I think that's where Satya's mission really came in, of taking a step further and saying, listen, we are the enterprise AI, company. The fact that you can have your data just like how you have your data in any other infrastructure. We have the data compliance that we've always been following through. We have an AI, responsible AI model that we've been running for a number of years, different groups of folks. And so helping individuals understand that data is yours and that we don't, even Microsoft doesn't have access to it, helps folks sleep at night.
I love it. I love the idea of that individualized AI, right? It's your data, you own it. And so I appreciate you kind of just popping that out because I've heard the same thing, right? In the cybersecurity world, that's all we hear is going to train on my data.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
So, Jason, what are some common misconceptions about AI that you often encounter?
Biggest one is I can give it anything, any amount of data or any quality of data, and it's going to spit gold. And it's like, nope, garbage in, garbage out, right? If you don't have a good enriched data set, if you don't have a data set that's actually valuable or something that has interest, ChatGPT is not going to know it. Other misconception, and I think this currently comes mostly from my students, is that AI is taking their jobs, right? So that's always the biggest one. AI is taking their jobs. Hey, I have GitHub Copilot. Why does this team need programmers? And I always tell them, listen, the chance of that replacing you is the chance of me hitting the middle word in my autocomplete on my phone like 150 times and expecting it to be a Nobel Prize winning literature, book, right? It's not going to work, right? Now, in the future, possibly, maybe, but right now, like I've even tried, I've been using GitHub Copilot for quite some time now, and it's fantastic, right? Convert things from Python to Rust and vice versa. Does it get it right all the time? No. And that's why I always stress it. It's a Copilot. Right? It's not the pilot. Like, don't take code that AI generated and throw it into production and be like, hey, I watched a podcast about Jason. He said this was cool. And then, you go bankrupt in a day or two, right? So, I think that's the two major misconceptions that I see from a lot of folks. But really, like, the education of understanding of where AI can fit into an environment and where your data can be trained and enriched, I think are, extremely beneficial.
I love it. I always love hearing your insights on data and AI. I was not surprised that you gave me a great answer. I was kind of expecting Skynet. So
not yet.
Fair enough. Well, Jason, the final fun question for you. Once upon a time, we asked you what your favorite retro technology was, but now, what is your current piece of technology that makes you smile?
So my current one right now is the analog pocket. It's kind of a throwback on my last retro tech of my Game Boy Color that I modded. I have basically what they've done is they created an FPGA can support Game Boy Color games and also like Atari Lynx and such like that. But it's like modern technology, USB-C charging, Bluetooth built in. So shout out to Analog Pocket. I know they're not sponsoring the video, but fantastic device. And I play Tetris like 24/7 on that thing. So I love it.
That's amazing. Jason, thanks for being on the podcast again.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for tuning into the Cyber Pro podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on new podcasts and all of our cool bonus content.